Hello, these are your energy stories for the first week of December 2023. Well, you may want to take the predictions that the EV and energy storage revolution will require enormous amounts of lithium, cobalt, and other critical minerals with a grain of salt, or indeed an even larger dose of sodium. European battery maker Northvolt has announced development of its first-gen sodium-ion battery cells, validating densities at 160 watt-hours per kilogram, which is similar to that of lithium iron phosphate. As if to underscore this announcement, Chinese EV monster BYD, who makes more EVs than Tesla, announced a multi-billion-dollar plan to make up to 30 gigawatt-hours annually of sodium-based batteries. New Jersey officials announced they will ban sales of internal combustion engines by 2035. Maybe by then, we will have salt-based or otherwise affordable batteries for affordable EVs. High costs have created some recent challenges on the sales side, with batteries often adding well over $10,000 to the sticker price. The good news is that battery prices are once again softening, and BNEF reports the price of lithium-ion battery packs has fallen 14% in the last year to a record low of $139 per kilowatt hour. Well, maybe you don't have to pay for those batteries. Maybe the automakers will own them and you can just swap them out. That's what they do with NIO in China. And NIO and Chinese automaker Geely have announced that they will work together on multiple aspects of battery swapping. They plan to develop swapping standards for both passenger cars and commercial vehicles, and they intend to accelerate development and promotion of battery swapping tech and developing vehicles with swappable batteries compatible with each other's systems. NIO has around 2,100 battery swap stations in China, and as of last week, 30 in Europe, and they've performed tens of millions of swaps to date. There's yet another way to charge vehicles besides swaps and traditional plug-in charging, and that's to drive over the charger while you're moving. Detroit's exploring this approach with Israeli induction charging pioneer Electrion, and they just saw the first quarter mile of test roadway installed in the city on 14th Street. The test will eventually extend to over a mile of road by 2025, and the idea is to see if this approach will allow automakers to limit battery sizes, since cars could sip as they drive, thus extending ranges on electrified roadways. Switching gears, Avangrid has announced a pilot project with Line Vision to use dynamic line rating tech with monitoring software to increase New York's current transmission capabilities. The project will use advanced monitoring for transmission and yield real-time data on where additional power can flow safely through the existing transmission infrastructure. Traditionally, grid operators have used static line ratings with fixed values and assumed the same constant weather assumptions to assign capacity ratings to each line. Here, they'll forecast weather conditions in each region and impacts on the lines. The company claims its technology can help find as much as 25 to 40% of additional capacity on existing power lines. Last week, Google and advanced geothermal company Fervo announced that Fervo's 3.5 megawatt, first-of-its-kind geothermal project in Nevada is now live. Fervo's advanced drilling techniques, adopted from the fracking industry, use horizontal drilling and fiber optic sensors to drill over a mile deep into hard rock, then sideways half a mile or more, and frack the rock to create larger surface areas. Fervo then pumps water and working fluids underground and superheats that liquid to over 370 degrees Fahrenheit. That's then used to produce steam that drives the turbine. Other companies and projects in the advanced geothermal space are underway, so watch to see what happens here in the future. 2 weeks ago, Gulfstream announced it had flown one of its G600 jets on sustainable aviation fuel, SAF, from Savannah, Georgia to Farnborough, England, in a 7-hour flight, a first of its kind. It was quickly followed up by Virgin Atlantic's SAF-powered commercial jetliner flight from London to New York. Its SAF was made of waste fats and plant sugars and emits about 70% less carbon than petroleum-based jet fuel. So are we on our way to guilt-free flying? Perhaps not yet. Scaling the SAF industry to accommodate the roughly 100,000 daily commercial flights around the world is going to require significant cost declines in the fuel, while potentially placing enormous demands on land use, fertilizer, water, and other inputs. But it's a start. Well, thanks for watching, and we'll see you again next week.